Good morning, everyone. Corrie here, recording this new moon energy update. This is June the 6th, 2024. So we have a 6-6 energy that's happening here today. And so I just want to say this new moon is in Gemini, and this new moon has a whole element of uh, weaving back and forth. There is a strong sense of it can be happy, it can be sad. It's like it's a flipping the switch, and so there's a flipping of the switch, and you can be so easily provoked in this new moon energy, and it can be very provoking. It can be provocative. It can have a whole lot of influence and effect, but it has the potential to be able to be used in the most positive of ways to help us in making the choices to create a more positive, a positive, happy change moving forward. And that when we recognize that everything that we have influencing us, that we can feel this energy, we can feel what's going on around, but it's our choice what we choose to allow to have such power over us. And that we control the power of what happens inside of ourselves. And as we have this power to control what is happening inside of us, is that we are making a choice to choose to allow it to have such influence. If it's negative, it's positive, is that we are choosing that. We're choosing to activate that emotion to really get to that place, or we feel the emotion, but we allow it to keep, spinning on the action that we take. It's the action that we take. And so in that sense of the action that we take and making the right choices and taking action in the right way, in the right direction, is all up to us, because the Gemini brings both sides of the coin. So we have both sides of the coin that is coming in, and it's like flipping. There's a flip going heads or tails. Do we take heads or tails? What goes first? So what moves first? What steps in front of you? What is the first step that we're taking? Are we allowing anger to motivate us? Are we allowing sadness? Are we allowing happiness, joy? Are we allowing the, enthusiasm, enthusiastic energy? Or are we allowing fear to take the first step? What's taking the first step today? And so moving forward moving forward with this energy and through this energy is, we've had a lot of promising energy in the last few months, but we've also had a lot of dancing with the shadows energy. We've had a lot of negative, influences that have had the power to influence us in such big ways. And so, yeah, so our relationship with ourselves really, truly matters. Finding myself being very dragged in this energy, like, it's very slow. Like I'm finding myself, um, being pulled back, like it's like dragging through, it's slow going. So I feel myself in a slow going, and then I feel this urge. So I woke up this morning and I just had this overwhelming urge that I had to get up and clean my floors. I had to get up and clean the counters. Like, just now, I sweep the floor after dinner every evening. I clean the counters every evening before I go to bed. Like, it's all just done. Nothing, no one's been walking around the house, but yet I had to get up and redo that this morning. And I just felt like I had all this energy, and then the energy felt like it slowed down, and the energy felt like it stopped. And so it is such a messed up kind of energy today, and not always in a bad way. When I say that, it just got a very messed up kind of influence in it. So it's like, it's easy to get messed up. It's easy to get to step up, or it's easy to step over yourself. It's easy to get tangled up. It's easy to get lost today. It's easy to do something that is out of character today. It's easy to kind of lose yourself today. That's the influence. And the influence is you may find yourself acting up and out. Now, I'm feeling the sense of, I want to say the wild woman energy. I want to say a bit of a trickster energy, but I also want to say a bit of a kind of pushing us energy. So that kind of trip ups that we make or acting out of character may just be a little bit of what sometimes we need to feel. Sometimes we need to experience. Sometimes we need to reveal. Something needs to be revealed to ourselves, and we need to see that side of ourselves. So it's a possibility that with this energy, you may be seeing a side of yourself that you're always trying to, that you don't want to see, that you're always trying to hide, but it is the side that brings about change. It's the side of yourself that makes change or has things happening, gets the ball rolling. It's sometimes, you got to get the ball rolling, or it breaks through stagnant energy. So what has been stagnant, what has been kind of dragging us back, what has been standing our way, what has us looking over our shoulder, what has that, I'm going to say this the way I get it, it's like the devil card, what has us believing that we're chained to a story, chained to the past, held on, is kind of like is the possibility to now use this powerful influence of the wild woman, the erotic craziness that exists in us that just comes up and out. It's like, oh my God, why did I do that? Where did that crazy madness come from? And so there's a madness to it. It's in because it is breaking free of the boxes and the systems that we place ourselves in. And on a bigger scale, on a world scale, it is also breaking. We're seeing the break free and the break out of that as well. But within ourselves, within us, is feeling the sense of just having to, break free of it's like congestion, right? It's like if we have phlegm, congestion, if you're always, you're not saying what you need to say, you're not speaking up, you're not speaking out, you're allowing things to happen. You've been a doormat, a emotional punching bag, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden you're just like, I fucking can't do this no more. I can't do this. I can't be this way. And so if that is rising and then you're being apologetic for it, you're denying, you're kind of slapping the face of the version of you that needs to needs to speak. But it needs to speak to you. It doesn't mean to take action, to be mean, to be cruel. It means that it is looking to talk to you. It's looking to talk to the you of today, and it's looking to say to you, you're missing something. There's something that you're either not seeing, there's something that you're on repeat of, and moving forward, we don't want to bring that forward. We don't want to take that forward with us. We want to bring that change. So the intention and setting the intention, making sure to set the intention, it's in the dark, right? When we're void of the light. So in a place and a time of when we're void of the light, we know the light still exists. So what is it that this place that we believe to be our faults, we believe to be not our true self, but it's an aspect of ourself. It's the part of ourself that arrives when we are not being ourselves, or we're not being true to ourselves. We're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being authentically ourselves. This is another side of ourself. This is the other side of the coin. And so it's not to really allow it to take full action to take us back into a self-sabotage moment or destroying the things in our lives, but to be able to give us the courage to find our way into being able to communicate or speak through the things that we really need or want to say. It also gives us the opportunity to use it like the rising of a hot air balloon. The hot air balloon needs that it needs air to be able to rise. The air of just what's blowing around, the wind that's just blowing around, can't get that hot air balloon to rise. So our hot air that we have, our hot head energy, our hot air that's existing in us is what rises us. Our hot head is our thoughts that creates not truth, but the hot air is what kind of rises up and out of us, and it's unexpected. Whereas the thoughts, those raging thoughts, are often calculated. It is controlled, it's calculated, it has the intention to cause hurt or harm, and it has attention to defend, to protect, whatever it is, but it's working from the shadow. But the urge that rises from within us, the hot air that comes up and out, that gets us moving, gets us taking action, is because the body cannot lie. The body doesn't lie. And the movement, when the body speaks and you listen, it brings about some of the most powerful and influential changes that help us to be able to project and move forward in a healthy way. The problem is the second action is guilt or shame. Then we feel guilty for what just transpired, for what just happened. But if we had to constantly been not afraid to let that part of us have the voice to speak its truth, we wouldn't be having to boil over before we speak. And so the mind's ability to be able to create that narrative and that story is not always our truth. So we create enemies. But what the body is feeling doesn't have a target. It's not to be targeted at one, or it's not to be targeted at an individual or a group of people. It is a part of the call that is within us, is a part of the knowing that moves us, like the air bloom, the bloom that rises with that air is the essence that brings us back to be able to get up and above, to know the path and direction to where we need to stop and land and get back on track. And so this has the opportunity to help us to be able to get back on track. And I could feel myself getting lost in this reading. And I'm like, oh God, I'm getting lost. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to delete this. And I stopped for a moment and I paused and I put the pause on, and I had to let it rise and let it come into this and feel out, what is the truth? Like, what is this channeling message trying to give to me? And it's so hard to bring channeling into language because it loses all of its luster. It loses all of the pizzazz and all the light. So when I'm getting these messages, it's like, oh, this is so going to come out so beautiful. But then it comes out so ordinary, and it feels like, well, it appears like it's coming directly from me or from my head, but it's not, because I can't create this. I don't even know this is happening. I push the start button and everything comes and it just happens. And so, yeah, there is a sense of humbleness and humility that comes with recording these and not putting out perfection, not creating perfection, but trusting the process. And sometimes I'm feeling that rise and I'm feeling the fall and I'm feeling the humility and I'm feeling all of this, but there's a sense of trust. And when we learn to be able to trust that, when I'm channeling, when we're in here, is we're using and picking up on all aspects and all experiences and all possibilities of what exists within me to be able to bring that message forward and to be able to bring that in. And that's exactly what's happening during these processes. So giving it words and then being able to commute it from this message to what the body is feeling, to then allowing this to speak, and communication to let myself speak is not the easiest. For me, that is the one area of my design that is not always wide open unless I'm channeling. And so just to be that true self is not always the easiest. So I'm feeling the effects. I'm feeling the energy of this new moon. You may be as well. I have no Gemini in my natal chart, as in the planets. Like, I have nothing in the planets. I don't have Gemini that sits in my placet in my natal chart at all. And but I'm surrounded by Geminis. I have a granddaughter who's a Gemini. I have a brother who's a Gemini. My grandmother was a Gemini energy as their sun sign. And so I don't hold that. I don't have that. And so there is the essence of a void. Like, it feels like a real odd energy sometimes. And so there is an oddness in this energy. There is a kind of weirdness in this energy a little bit, and it can feel weird, it can feel odd, because when we're breaking out of our comfort zone, it feels odd, it feels uncomfortable, and it feels weird. And that's why we go back to comfort. That's why we go back to what we know. And it's so easy to go back to what we know and the way things were. But going back to often what we know, what keeps us so-called safe by the ego standards of safety and security in our lives, is the things that keeps us trapped in the box and in the illusion of this self. What makes us be able to move forward is the fact of being able to step into that weird, wacky, let the wildness, the weirdness out, and to be true, and then to be able to grow it up, to make it work in such a way that it has a controlled sense of power to it. It's like the wheeling of our power, of our force that we have in us. If we let it all out, if we scream as loud as we can't walk around all the time screaming like that, because it will deplete us. It's about us creating balance and harmony within ourselves, that when we can feel it, we don't have to wait until it bubbles up and over and out. Is that we find it, we hear it, we know it, and then we know that this is the opportunity of where we take action, where we communicate what we need to say, where we make new choices, where we choose to walk a new way, where we choose to make a decision, where we choose to bring in endings. But whatever is back here, is time for this to be able to go. And I had talked about, you can't see your future in the mirror. My Truth of Existing Beyond a Reflection. That's my second book. And so in the weekly, I start to speak about it. I'm like, I don't want to bring that further in. And so as long as you're looking in to that reflection, or you're looking here in the side views and looking back in the reverse, yeah, you can see what's behind you. You can see what's to the side of you. You can see you can see into you, but you can't see what's ahead. And you can't see what's ahead because the mirror is blocking the view, and the mirror has a distorted view. And so because we have past experiences and we have past memories, we have all of this, we have a feeling that feels like something is going to repeat itself, but we only have a limited amounts of feelings that appear. And so it doesn't mean the past is repeating itself. It means we're feeling something that we have previously felt. But as long as we keep reflecting and looking into only what's back there, then we can never be able to see what's over there, to be able to get to that future, because we're always in bringing our past into our possibilities of a future. And that's where everything just becomes a repeat of what once was. And it's time to really, truly take the mirror away. Who needs a mirror? It's like we wouldn't know that we're so different if we didn't have a mirror reflection of words, thoughts, creations of differences, if we didn't have so much that was reflecting onto us of what differences really were. And that we're so much more alike, and we have so much more similarity, and we have so much more for us to explore that's out there. But as long as we only look here, we are limited. And so this new moon is giving us the possibility to believe in something that may not be that we may not be able to see, but we're feeling something. And by dropping down the mirror and letting ourselves walk into this darkness, into this unknown, with a sense of enthusiasm and excitement, is that we get to see and feel the possibility of change, of something new, and that we get to choose this, that this is a choice. We can keep staying back here. This world will still all exist for us. You will still have all of this. And it doesn't mean everything that's in our world changes or leaves when we choose to find our voice or communicate. It means that we create healthier, more vibrant, more free-flowing, beautiful relationships, even with ourselves. And that's what this new moon is giving us. It's providing us the opportunity to experience something new, and the opportunity for us to really recognize how much it is a free will choice for us to choose. And if we have that free will choice to choose, then why do we keep choosing some of the things and the way that we choose to exist? I send you so much love. And if you'd like to read my new book, it's actually downstairs. I don't have it, but it's called Wine and Chips. It's called Wine and Chips. And if you want to read My Truth of Existing Beyond Reflection, it is about radical self-acceptance. It's about really, truly looking and saying, no, that wasn't right. I can accept it. I take ownership and responsibility for my part. I can understand it now from the adult I am, but it's still not okay. I can forgive, but it doesn't make bad behavior okay. Bad behavior is just not okay. And if it's our own bad behavior, it's not okay. But what is bad behavior? But what is bad behavior? So this is bringing forth a little bit of a wild ride a little bit of our wild woman, wild man kind of, our little bit of our primal, primitive kind of energy. And that helps us to really, truly be able to strengthen and bring muscle power into our instinctual self so that we can learn to trust the innate intuition of the gut, and that we can really learn to trust the body is not telling us a lie. The head and the ability to be able to create a thought and to create a story does tell us many lies. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful day and enjoy your new moon energy. Much love.